played the whole game, got stronger as the game went on. Even whatever the mistakes we made, we just played the next play, whatever the situation was. And defensively, I thought we did an outstanding job in the red zone for the most part. On third down, got off the field, did a great job. Bent, gave them some plays, but they're receivers. You couldn't just isolate them one-on-one because they could really hurt you. And Mike did a tremendous job of mixing things up. Created turnover, did a great job. And I think we played very good transitional defense and offense. In other words, when we had the second turnover, they stopped them right there. The end of the first half, when they got the critical turnover, because they were going in to either score 21-7 or 17-7, we take an 80-yard drive and score. And then when we get the stops at the end, after the missed field goal, we're able to take another drive. Defense did a great job of red zone the next time, and then we ran out the clock in the 4 minutes. So I thought we played well, kicked the ball well, and a big field goal by Seth, and that was tied up 21-21. Got us the lead, and we got better in a lot of areas, and we just got to continue to improve.
And you just mentioned it there. You had a matchup, their receivers against your secondary.
Yes.
DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, DeMarcus Lodge. That's as good as it gets in the country. You can't just pin that matchup on your back end.
No.
It takes a whole defense. They got to help out.
It do, and you have to, sometimes you have to play light up front. I mean, you have to play light up front to get safety help over the top. You clouded coverages to create 2-on-1s. I mixed it on different guys and made the quarterback try to find it, and then the rush get there. But we had to play light in the run sometimes. So they popped a couple, but we rallied to it. And we had to play very smart defense. And Mike did a great job of mixing and matching those things. And then we were able to get going in the second half and really be physical, running the football, and make great decisions. We were great on third down, too. We were 7-12 in conversions on third down on offense and picked some big ones up, third and longs that were critical, and then scored touchdowns in the red zone. We had to two turnovers, which we didn't want to have. We missed a block, and then we fumbled, and then we just got to throw one of them away. But, other than that, played really good football.
Yeah, you mentioned the 2 touchdowns in the red zone, but think about your defense. I've counted now 7 times you've had an opponent get inside the red zone on you this year, and they came away with no points. Mm-hmm. 7 occasions that's happened. That's huge.
Miss Paul, fourth downs, different things that goes on, yep. And our kicking game, again, Braden Mann, I don't want to forget him. It's amazing when you look at where our opponents start at, the field position,
yeah,
it's unbelievable. I mean, it may average inside the 20 for the year, which is pretty amazing. And so he's doing a great job there too. But our defense doing a great job in the red zone, doing a great job on third down, and played really good football.
All right, we're off and running on the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. A&M defeated Ole Miss last Saturday. We'll continue to talk about it, and we'll look forward to the matchup this weekend against the UAB Blazers. Visit 12thman.com/maroon contest and register for your chance to hang out on Kyle Field with the Yell Eaters at the next home game. Winners get photo ops, game tickets, pregame hospitality, and the chance to get a pregame tour of Kyle Field. Register today at 12thman.com/maroon contest. Back in a bit. It's Aggie football from Lear Field. We return to Rudy's here in College Station. The Jimbo Fisher Radio Show is presented by Capital Farm Credit. A&M last Saturday, a 38-24 win over Ole Miss. The game reached the fourth quarter, tied 21-21. The Aggies outrun and outraced the Rebels in the final period, 17-3 to get to that 38-24 final. We'll continue discussing Ole Miss here. And Coach, just some of the individual performances against the Rebels. Kellen Mond, 19 of 28, 236 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 INT. Now, that's what statistics tell us. When you watch the tape on Kellen Saturday, what did it show you?
He had the 2 mistakes on the fumble. We had the ball too low. We missed a block, and we were there. And then the other mistake on the trick, there was a third down throw he could have had and one other throw that he could have gotten down. And other than that, he played really good football. And what I loved, he was great on third down. And what I loved, the throw he made to Jace, after he had the 2 consecutive turnovers and we were down 21-14 on 3rd and 8, we just dropped the ball for a first down. We had just dropped one right there for a first down. And if you look at that film, he's the only guy on the field that got open by half a step. And he put the ball perfectly on the sideline. Jason went down and got that big conversion, and then we went right in and made the throw, and we were able to run the football. Be able to come back and make those kind of throws after having adversity like he had it, I think was a huge part in his development, but also shows his character and why he played. And he played a really good football game.
Think about him in the spring when you got him on the practice field for the first time. I mean, you're probably throwing things at him, and all he can handle is yes, sir, at the time. Are the conversations getting longer?
It's a whole we laugh about that all the time, the conversations we have now, and the total grasp and understanding, and the ideas that he comes up with, that he throws out, say, Coach, wouldn't that be good? Yeah, it would. I mean, it makes sense, and understanding conceptually what you're trying to do, how to attack a certain defense and a style of defense, and his knowledge of the game is just continually growing like crazy.
You got Jamon Osborne back, and he had 5 catches for 66
It was, and got to settle down on that 2-minute drive right before half. It was huge. We got back, and just his presence and the things he does mentally, those guys around, and how now you got him over there, so you can move some of the other guys and do different things where you had to play him over there, so you were short a little bit. But Hez did a great job in there. I mean, when he come in and played for us, and he'll continue to play. But Oz just been in the battles, been in the wars, and just knows how to play, and is just such a really good football player.
Those wide receivers, it's so sophomore laden. They're young and they're going against SEC defenses. But how much have they pleased you this year?
They have. I mean, and like I say, there's more you keep wanting because you got to have the thing in today's game. Turnovers and explosive plays. You got to be able to create explosive plays and change the field position, and that's why we play so good defense. We don't give up as many, get some in the secondary. But when you're starting to drive those 80, 90-yard drives, you don't do many of those. Now, which we've had 4 of over 95 ourselves, which is amazing because of the execution it takes. But those receivers have to create big plays, and they're getting better at it. It's exciting that they're sophomores, and sometimes they remind me they're sophomores, which is good. But, I mean, you're just continuing to grow. But that whole group is really growing. Damien's done a heck of a job with those guys.
On defense, Ataro Alaka led you with 11 tackles.
Played
he had a
outstanding.
sack, and, I mean, it's been the whole year.
He's running well. I tell you what, he's got – and from spring till now, his eye discipline and understanding how to read keys and not have wasted movement and be able to trigger in the right areas and play the right things and understand what we're doing on defense is grown immensely. And you see his performance go up because when he's a big body. It's 245 pounds and can run and long. And he's learning how to play linebackers forward with his eyes. And that's like all players. People don't realize this. You have to train your eye. We have a saying, see a little, see a lot, see nothing. Mm-hmm. You've got to be zeroed in on your specific assignment so you can – process the game and to make triggered reads on what your job is. And if you start looking at everything, you can't see anything. And those guys we're getting better at that. Our discipline in that is, and our understanding of what we're trying to accomplish on each and every defense and offense.
Something else you say a lot is to take hope away from the opponent.
Yes.
Eventually, did you do that against Ole Miss?
We did in the fourth quarter eventually. When we got ahead, when they missed a field goal, we went right down and scored, got a 10-point lead. They come back and go up, get a field goal, go back to 7. We take it and then pop that run and get right back to 14. And every time they would step up, we were banging it back. And a dominant personality, I totally believe, is a learned behavior. Mm-hmm. You have to learn to be dominant. I mean, there's certain people have personality, but you can learn, as I say, to want to obliviate somebody, to want to give every inch of every play, not give them a yard and to make 100 on every play. And it's a mentality in which we have to get to, because what that does, that means that every second of it, and as everybody says, we got to learn how to finish. You're not playing. Well, we played hard. Like in the Auburn game, we played hard. You go watch the physicality of it, but the mental strain to take every inch of everything of every play has got to be there. And there's very few guys in this world. You look at the Michael Jordans of the world, the Tom Brady's of the world, the Drew Breeses of the world, the Kobe Bryants of the world. There's certain people who just, and it's not just their ability that makes them, because there's extremely talented guys everywhere. It's their dominant personalities of understanding how to compete and want to obliviate you. And every time they play you, remind you that next time you play me, I want nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to go play those guys. And that's what we're trying to – that's the hurdle we got to get to.
Mm-hmm. We've got Jimbo Fisher with us right here at Rudy's. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit, and we've got more on the other side of the break. Travion Williams hit a few milestones on Saturday against Ole Miss. We'll talk to the coach about his running back when we come back. Bud Light, proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics, reminding you to enjoy responsibly. It's Aggie football from Lear Field. AT&T is a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. More for your thing, that's our thing. We're back at Rudy's. It is the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit. Will Johnson with you tonight. Like I said when we started, Andrew Monaco is on his way to the Pacific Northwest A&M basketball at Gonzaga tomorrow. He will be back with us on Saturday. 6 o'clock is kickoff between A&M and UAB, our pregame show on the Aggie Radio Network with myself, Andrew, and Dave Elmendorf will begin at 5 o'clock. Before we move on, Coach, wanted to talk about Travion. What a special Saturday when you can get to the 1,000-yard mark for the second time in your career. Also, with the long touchdown run that sealed the win, he topped 3,000 for a career.
Wow.
On that one. Just a special day for a good young man.
It is, and 3,000 yards in this league, people have no idea the physicality and the beating you take to do that. I mean, this league here, there's more defensive linemen in this league than any league, maybe combined all together across the country. And that's what makes this league so tough, the defensive people and everything that goes in it, and great offensive people. But the physicality to run the football in this league and him to do it and explosive plays and things, that's a heck of a milestone.
And one of the things I thought about after the game is when you do something like that, you got to understand the company that you now keep. Only 5 other Aggies have topped 3,000
Wow.
in their career, and you're talking about Curtis Dickey in the 70s is the first to do it, Darren Lewis later. Greg Hill and Rodney Thomas did it essentially in the same backfield, splitting carries.
Wow.
And then the final one to do it, the most recent before Travion, was Cyrus Gray. And one of the things I said in our post-game show was those are guys – as an A&M fan, I grew up watching.
Yeah.
He's on that list now. People are going to say years from now, I grew up watching Travion Williams. He needs to appreciate that.
It does. And you know what's funny, though? You never do till you get older and realize what you're doing because you're in the moment, you're living in the moment, and you're thinking about how can I get better the next day or next play. And I think that's Travion's greatest quality. I think his ultra-competitiveness, his ability to work, and his ability to go try to make the next play after he's made one play. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and his guy is an ultimate leader and does a great job with that and just wants to be in that company by how he works and the way what he does things and the way he does things.
And I think he's become more of a tackle breaker. He can bounce off
He
contact.
does.
Now, some of that credit, that's Jerry Schmidt at work in the offseason.
No, there ain't no doubt how you run and it's Jerry Schmidt in the offseason. It's Jay Graham. If you ever go watch Jay Graham run when he played, go turn the highlight video of Jay Graham on. You talk about he ran over him, through him, and was a grown man. And
he did in the SEC too.
In learning how to get near leg, near shoulder, and get on the pressure points and get on the angles, and also how to read blocks. You know, and how to set things up. And I think that's where Travion's knowledge is growing. He's understanding the blocking schemes by the fronts up front. So he's seeing cuts. So when you're in those seams better, people don't get as much of you. You're on the edge of things. And he's really learning not only to be a physical specimen, but a mental student of the game to understand how to get in those positions where you don't take those hits.
Jay Sean Corbin waiting in the wings.
Yes.
See the next?
Jay Sean, and I think there's Vincent Jack. There's a lot of young backs in this group. I think that can be really good. I mean, I do. And Jay Sean, you see his power and speed and athleticism coming on. And in this league, we need multiple guys. Big, Vincent. I mean, he's going to be a great player. And we think there's a lot of guys in that group, and young players that we think really well of.
All right, we're live tonight at Rudy's here in College Station. Football and barbecue lovers know the perfect brisket needs the right wood. Rudy's smokes all their meats using their delicious signature rubs in 100% oak-fired pits. Get your real Texas barbecue fix today at Rudy's or on the web at rudys.com. We return to this very location in just a bit. It's Aggie football from Lear Field. Welcome back to Rudy's here in College Station. The Jimbo Fisher Radio Show is presented by Capital Farm Credit. We've had Facebook check-ins thus far from Adelaide, Australia, from out of the country, from right here in the United States, from Birmingham, Alabama. I don't know if that's the enemy trying to scout us here tonight with UAB coming to town. And I always love small-town Texas, especially when it's near my hometown, Flatonia, Texas, checking in. About 2 hours south of here. AT&T is a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. More for your thing. That's our thing. We continue with Jimbo Fisher. We're coming off the win over Ole Miss. We are looking forward to Saturday night against UAB. And, Coach, I thought it was pretty cool that after the game, you got to meet Von Miller. He was present. He had his off week with the Denver Broncos. Yep. I mean, this is the Super Bowl 50 MVP, a 6-time Pro Bowler, a great Aggie, and you got the chance to shake hands with him.
I'll tell you what, and the first impression was he's a real guy. And what I mean by that is down to earth, genuine, just like all A&M good people, just like an Aggie. Didn't surprise me one bit. I mean, to be as a comp, this guy's probably going to be in the Football Hall of Fame. You're talking about 6-time Pro Bowl guy in 8 years and what he's doing and what he's accomplished. Amazing. And, Coach, anything I can do to help him was unbelievably gracious and with his time and everything he was, and just a complete class act. I mean, complete class act.
Yeah, and also – there's a lot of former players.
Yeah, Martellus.
Martellus.
We were laughing. See, when I coached at LSU, the last visit I had when I was coaching LSU was in Martellus's house where I went to Florida State. We were laughing, him and his dad. I went and watched him play a basketball game, went to watch him, and at the house, and we visited, and we were laughing about that and went way back. It was interesting.
Yeah, he said on his recruiting visit he requested catfish and French fries, and you came through for him.
Oh, yeah.
Down there in Louisiana.
Hey, catfish and French fries in Louisiana is not hard to do.
Yeah, you didn't have to go far for it. But just the welcoming of former players back, because I was in awe of what happened at the Maroon and White game in April.
Yes.
You had over 300.
Listen, we're all part of the same family. Everybody all that stadium and the traditions and the histories, they built that. They put their blood, sweat, and tears and everything they had into that. And for us not to be able to give back to them and let them come back and any time, any place, and be a part of this organization, be a part of our family, is crazy. And that more the merrier. And that's why you come down and be part of something like that and help. And you're making it better for the next guy. And look the things they had compared to what these kids have now. And hopefully it'll be that way 15, 20 years down the road. How much these guys have improved it, and we've taken it and hopefully won some championships and done a great job.
All right, pretty soon we will shift our attention to the UAB Blazers, who are coming here on Saturday night. When we come back, we've got a question from the audience, and what I learned in prep for this show for my first time, that he's essentially a correspondent on this show.
He asks really good questions now. I'm about to hire him one of these days.
Look, I think he's got a pretty good one here tonight. And
he always does.
I might need to prep you during the break for it. You may need to do some thinking on this one, but we'll get to it when we come back on the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show, presented by Capital Farm Credit. Capital Farm Credit, together we're better. Back to Rudy's in a moment. It's Aggie football from Lear Field. Tune in to Fox Sports Southwest every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. to catch the pulse. Go inside and stay up to date with Texas A&M football. We're back here at Rudy's in College Station. The Jimbo Fisher Radio Show is presented by Capital Farm Credit. And we got confirmation that our check-in from Birmingham, that's not the enemy scouting on us. We've confirmed that it's John, Aggie class of 1987 over there in Birmingham tonight. We're also coast to coast with our listenership this evening. We've got Tampa, Florida checking in the east and Palm Springs, California in the west. Good to have all of you with us tonight. A quick birthday shout out comes from a very good friend of the program, and we determined she's turning 21 again today. Mary Jo Prince, happy birthday to you right here in our audience. And as we said before we go to break, we always have a correspondent on this show.
Yes.
And he's come at Coach Fisher with another question once more. 13-year-old Ian Curtis. Coach is prepping. See, Ian's sitting right near Mary Jo right over there. So, all right, Coach, you ready?
Yep.
What about the recruiting process do you wish more people understood?
Wow.
I may have should have hit you at the break.
I think, well, I'm going to say, first, how long a relationship it generally takes to be built before you get the young man. How many hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of communication, meetings, talk that go into it. You have if you're not recruiting every day, you're behind. I mean, you have to be on top of it every day. And I think the other part of it is, I think how much pressure now that the kids get under sometimes. If some of them don't, because there's tremendous guys that know what they want to do, but they're 18 years old, how much pressure they're under and how much their minds can change and how quickly they can change over some of the most irrelevant things. And it basically gets down to just trying not to make a mistake and thinking something, people, and every person in the world's in their ear, and it drives you crazy. But I just think how much a relationship and how close you truly get to these young men when you recruit them. I mean, really, because it's hours and hours. And I mean, like I say, sometimes you hate to say this, you're talking to them more than you are your own kids sometimes. I mean, for long periods of time. I mean, it becomes that way. And it's a truly relationship that you get. That's why coaches and players, you get so emotional about things sometimes. You're so close to them.
And we're about a month away from the
Lord.
Second go-around of the new early signing period. Like
you had to remind me, didn't you?
Yeah, you stated you're not that big a fan of it.
Well, I just think the timing of it's tough. But, we've got a lot of our class done, and hopefully a lot of it will get signed on in December, and that will free you up for all of January, when you get that way. Now that we get it in the routine, we'll see how it goes.
All right, thank you, Ian. Great
question
yet again. All right.
He thinks that's a great
He needs
question.
to just co-host this show.
Yeah, exactly.
Hang out with Andrew when he's
I think he does.
Yeah, might as well. All right, we'll talk UAB on the other side of the break. The Jimbo Fisher Radio Show is presented by Capital Farm Credit. We're live from Rudy's tonight. Great crowd on hand, just like there was Saturday at Kyle Field. We return on the other side of the break on Aggie football from Lear Field. Copy. Great crowd here at Rudy's in College Station tonight for the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit. A&M and UAB Saturday from Kyle Field, and it is Military Appreciation Day. You can thank our servicemen and women by purchasing seats for them to attend the game on Saturday at Kyle Field. Donate $20 military appreciation tickets today for active duty, reserves, and retired military personnel. Visit 12man.com/military and donate $20 Aggie football military appreciation tickets. Do it now. And Coach, like I said, it's Military Appreciation Day Saturday, and always need to say thanks to those who serve this country.
Freedom's not free. And there's a lot of people sacrificing their lives and for us to have the things we have, and a lot of families that go through some tough times with their family over there and that, and there's my hat's off to them and the ultimate respect for the people in our military and what they stand for, and that's how America was built, and that's how we'll always sustain the things we have, and God bless them for what they do for our country.
Certainly so. Well said. And we're glad to have him at Kyle Field on Saturday. And, Coach, the business at hand is the 9-1 Blazers. They have already clinched the Western Division of Conference USA. They will play in that league's championship.
Oh, they're going to be in the championship game. Listen, in offensively, they got a big back who's run for almost 1,000 yards, can really run, throw the football well. Two big receivers, very good offensive line, tight end. Very special teams are outstanding. And defensively, they're number one in sacks per game. They're number one in third down defense, fourth down defense. They're fifth in tackles for loss. They're third in points and fourth in total defense. So, I mean, they're about in every top five category there is demand, and I'm talking about they're really a good football team.
The sacks, it's interesting. Like you said, they lead the nation. They've got 38 on the year, and it's kind of coming from all over the place. They've got 16 different players with sacks on that team. I think about a guy like Eric McCoy, your center. Does he have to pinpoint a lot of things, trying to know where everything's coming from?
The quarterback will set protection issues and what he does, and then Eric will make the calls, and then we get everybody on the same page. And him and the quarterback are totally into the blitz packages and where we got to slide, and where we got to pick up, and where we can't pick up, and where we got to hot or side or routes out. And it's a big mental game with them.
The motivation for this opponent is incredible because you think about a couple of years ago, they didn't have a program.
No, they didn't.
They brought it back, and this is year 2 since its return. And right now, the team that's the front runner for that spot in the New Year's Six Bowl among the group of 5 is Central Florida.
Yes.
But if they took a loss, UAB is literally sitting there saying, if we can win on Saturday, it might be us in the New Year's Six.
They got the ultimate motivation, nothing to lose, to come in here and play us. They're ranked in the top 25. We have to be ready to play. I mean, we have to be ready to play, and play at the highest level we have.
Your senior year of college football was in Birmingham.
Yes.
Sanford,
yes.
1987. I don't think UAB had the program going at that
No,
point.
they started a club team about 2-3 years after that, and then they eventually in the 90s started into football. I remember when it started up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so little tie there. You once were.
We used to. When they were a club team, our freshman teams and junior varsity teams scrimmaged them. when I was first coaching. Yep.
Good deal. All right. And now we welcome them into Kyle Field on Saturday. It is also senior night. We will honor those that only have 2 games left here in College Station in the maroon and white uniform. We'll talk about some of those guys on the other side of the break. It's the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show from Rudy's, and it is presented by Capital Farm Credit. More after this. It's Aggie football from Lear Field. Kids, be the future of the 12th man. Join the Junior Aggie Club today. Members of the official Kids Club of Texas A&M Athletics are 12 years of age and younger. Join the Junior Aggie Club today to receive free admission to Aggie athletic events throughout the year, plus exclusive access and experiences. Group, sibling, and 12th man foundation discounts are available. Visit junioraggieclub.com and join today. Welcome back to Rudy's for the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit. Will Johnson here with you tonight. We just had a check-in from some guy named Andrew in Spokane, Washington, and that, as you all know, is Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Aggies. We're hoping A&M men's basketball can beat the hell out of the Gonzaga Bulldogs tomorrow, and then we will look forward to Saturday with the UAB Blazers coming to town. Coach Fisher and his group will celebrate senior night with this game, and that's always special when you can embrace those guys coming out of the tunnel before.
It really was. I didn't have the luxury of recruiting those guys and know them when they came out. I always remember on senior days, when those guys that walked out of the tunnel, I always saw the young man that I recruited, you know what I'm saying, and how they've changed and what they've done and how proud you are of them. But those guys have been through a lot. They've been to a bowl game every year they've been here, kept this great bowl streak alive, and what they've meant to A&M, and we're blessed. And I'm going to tell you, our seniors, when you come into a new program and changes are made in your senior year, it's very easy to not buy in and try to help and do things. Every one of these guys has done a tremendous job and have had huge success this year, and one of the reasons that we're having the amount of success we've had so far.
And we could run down the whole list. Like you said, they've really helped with the buy-in in your first year. And just a few of them that we'll get to celebrate this evening. And like we said before we went to break, these guys only have 2 games left in the maroon and white on Kyle Field.
Yes.
And they're both pretty big football games with what you got against UAB and LSU. But we were talking about Ataro Alaka earlier, probably playing his best football as an Aggie in his final year. But another guy you can say defensively the same thing about is up front, Dalen Mack.
Without a doubt. I mean, you talk about whether the number 1 or 2 defense, what we are in the country against the run, it starts inside out. Him taking on double teams, the penetration, the disruption, not always the tackles he makes, but how he frees people up and just makes havoc. You know, how many times we have – there's a stat we have is we vote for our most disruptive on defense. It's a stat I have for those guys because it rewards guys who don't always, you get the guy that makes 12 tackles or 14, which is great, and the interceptions. But we have one that's most disruptive, that causes things. It's almost like the unsung heroes that's letting everybody do things. And I think he's won it all but 2 or 3 weeks this whole year. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. Kingsley Kiki's not too bad up there.
No.
Up there
and the ability for him to go inside, outside, play that big end, stop the run against those tight ends, and then go in and pass rush on third downs against the guards when he has the quickness. And, I mean, it's had a huge year for us.
A guy I thought about a lot before this season was Donovan Wilson because he got his first chance at a senior year taken away.
Yeah.
This is a second go-round at his last shot.
And you talk about the buy-in and the effect he has on the other players. He has as much as anybody we have. I mean, his personality, what he says, and how he says it. When he speaks, they listen. There's a presence about him, and he has an outstanding year, and he's fun to coach and be around.
And then you got the 12th man who's moved to fullback, Cullen Gillespie.
Gilly, that's what I say. He's full of energy. He loves A&M and everything he does, and really became he had a great game. He had a couple mistakes early in the game on some blocks, and we had a reverse that could have came out, and I always tease him about could have been a big play the second play. But after that, those runs at the end of the game, those runs in the third quarter, those runs in the fourth, I mean, he played a heck of a football game for us. And then, of course, always does a tremendous job on special teams.
And speaking of special teams, a guy that's really hidden in all this, you don't talk about a deep snapper when he's doing his job right. And Austin Fry is doing that right now.
That's the best thing. You don't know who he is.
Yeah.
And I joke about that because they only know when you mess up. It's one of those things. When you do your job, hey, buddy, that's a good job. But when you don't, they know your name and jump on you. And his snaps and his consistency and his whole demeanor and leadership is really outstanding.
Do you like to, you'll stand there at the goalpost, they'll come out and brace you, then go see their family. Do you like to send a quick message to those guys before they take because then they got to start to concentrate against a really good football
senior
team.
Day, for a lot of folks, people think I've seen it work both ways. I mean, it's emotional. It can be great. It can also be very devastating. You realize that's one of the last 2 times you're ever walking on that field, and you see your family, you see things. I've seen guys that reflect in a negative way because it's just hard for them to get their psyche of their mentality back into because it's 2 different mentalities. I'm here to win a game. I'm locked in. I'm doing this. And then it's my last time. The emotion of joy and sometimes it's very sad. It's very emotional in a bad way. And it's not that, you appreciate everything and you realize something you love is going to be gone. And then say, okay, that's over with, and I get back in that mode and go play. I mean, those are tough days. Those are tougher than you think they are on those kids.
All right, we've got one segment to go here on the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit from Rudy's. We're going to talk a little situational football with the coach when we come back to close it out. It is Aggie football from Lear Field. Welcome back to Rudy's, right here on Harvey Road in College Station. The Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit concludes right here with this segment. Again, a reminder, 6 o'clock kickoff, Texas A&M and UAB on Saturday night. Our pregame show on the Aggie Radio Network with myself, Andrew Monaco, and Dave Elmendorf will get going at 5 o'clock. So 2 more games left at Kyle Field. You wait and you wait and you wait for college football to get here, and you snap your finger and it's cold outside and you got 2 left.
You ain't lying there now. I mean, I just realized, you get in that grind, especially when you're coaching, it just rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls, and how fast they go.
Yeah, because you're a fan of the game too.
I love it.
Chance, you watch who you can.
You do. You watch who you can when you can, but very often, sometimes on the late games you get a little bit during the day, but sometimes, man, I'm worried about us so much. And usually the most I'll get at times, if we play at like those 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock games, sometimes you get home, you might catch a little bit in the evening if you're not asleep already. If you don't fall asleep too early, try to stay up.
When you watch other teams play, you can't really do it as a fan. Do you go into coach mode? Can you actually just be a fan and watch other teams play?
For about 2 minutes. What would I do? What am I thinking? What's he doing?
And then you're getting ideas.
Or why is he doing that? That's interesting. You know what I mean? It never stops.
Well, speaking of coaching situations, yep, I thought there were 2 very interesting ones Saturday against Ole Miss. So I wanted to close the show by bringing a couple up to you. First, I go back to early fourth quarter, Ole Miss, 4th down and 2 from the Aggie 5-yard line. Now, we know by now the next play they miss a field goal. But I think people will remember you calling a timeout just before that 4th down and 2. Is there reasons for a fake in there somewhere?
There is. There's definitely a reason for a fake. You want to clear that up. It wasn't the total reason we did. We actually, I say this, sometimes they don't. we weren't sure. We had a guy come off the field. We weren't sure if we had 12 guys on the field in the beginning. So I went down there, and they said, yes. Oh, no, we got them. No, do we have them? We weren't sure. And I said, listen, it's 4th and 2. Let's just call timeout. Make sure we got our feet on the ground because they could fake it. Something could happen, and let's see what happens. And then luckily they missed a field goal. And you hate wasting that timeout, but it originally started because we didn't see somebody sneak off the field. They kept saying he's on the field, and then he wasn't. He ran off to the sideline and didn't run to the bench. You know what I mean? He realized it, and no one saw him. So we didn't want to have a critical 12th man on the field because that's an automatic first down. So we weren't sure, so we automatically called the timeout.
Yeah, because something else, it's not that they're going to try to fake and throw to the end zone and get a touchdown. 4th and 2, they could have done the up the middle with the holder and got first and goal.
Could have done anything, and you're always aware of that in those situations there. And then if you think you're going to have a penalty, you definitely don't want to give them a first down from a penalty.
Turned into a really good job of icing their
kicker. It did. And then, again, we were able to capitalize, go back down and get a drive.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You made them pay.
Exactly right.
If you don't move the ball after that, they're right back.
If you remember, we hit the pass to Jason the flat for about 15. Then Kelling did a quarterback run, zone read, picked up about 15. Then we hit a run, and then that's when we hit the run to 5, Travion. He got the face mask call.
Yep.
We got down, popped another run, got down, got a first down, and they had second down. And then we run the play-action pass and hit Courtney in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, because those things don't hurt them if you don't make them pay.
No, you're exactly right. And that's why I say learning to capitalize in momentum swings in the game. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm talking about, learning to take their hope away. And let these guys, we can't make a mistake. As soon as we do, they capitalize. Well, that puts pressure on you on the other side. So then you're trying to be perfect all the time, and that can cause you to make mistakes.
Other one, I've always found these scenarios very interesting for a head coach. Travion's big run to put you up 38-24. Now, the snap of the football came right about 150 left in the fourth quarter. You're up 7 points. The moment he gets a first down, there can be a decision to make in some cases.
Yes.
A guy can go down
you don't
and
want
you
to
can
score.
kneel out. Yeah, there's situations where guys may not want to score.
Especially, people don't understand. I've done it on interceptions at the end of a game. Guys run an interception back for a touchdown, with 45 seconds to go, and you're up 6 points or you're up 3, and that puts you up 10 or less. It puts you up 17 or less. If it's 3 scores or more inside a minute, I can see. I agree with scoring because 3 possessions is very hard to get to without doing it. But still, you still should. If you can get the ball, and they have it. And you can go down and they cannot get the ball back because you can run the clock out because of their timeout situation, you should never score. And we talked to our backs about that, staying in bounds and in a situation. Now, they had 3 timeouts left, and it was a minute 50. So if we went down, we were still only up. We were up 7, still been a 2-point game, but we wanted to get the 2 touchdown lead, and we'd have done it then. If it would have been a situation, 1 timeout or less, we'd have got to that yard mark and then went down and not done it and ran the clock out. They had time, we could have ran the clock all the way out. In the situation we had, or when you got to know those situations going in. So we talk to our kids all the time going in. We practice them. We talk about it, and there's a lot of scenarios. People say, score that. Well, because you understand. So why wouldn't you score? Well, if you're up 2 possessions, the only way the other team can ever get the ball back is you score because you got to kick off to them. Well, if they score,
they get
they get an onside kick, and they can get it. It's the only chance they have. That's why you see teams at the end of a game will let teams score. You'll see sometimes they'll just give up and let a team score and say, why'd they do that? Well, they knew they was going to take the game and the clock, and they would never get the ball back. So you allow yourself to do that. It's the only chance you have to ever get the ball back.
And ultimately is the deciding factor there on Travion's run, the fact that Ole Miss has 3 timeouts.
They got 3 timeouts because even if they'd done it, they could have, if we just took a knee, they stop them, there's still a minute and a half to go, and we got them then make a field goal because you could still miss it and not be up 2 scores. So you had to take the 2 scores at the time you took them, and plus being a touchdown.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting. And a lot of these things, you kind of got to.
You got to think.
You really got to prep guys, but you also got to think instantly on.
It's 2 things. You got to think instantaneously. You got to know what you're doing, and understand. If I've already had that worked out. That goes back to camp. That goes back to fall camp. That goes back to spring practice. Those things are all done in 4-minute drills. We always talk to 4-minute drills. Running the clock out in the last 4 minutes of the game. All the scenarios about not going out of bounds, when you go out of bounds, all the different scenarios and things you do.
All right, Coach. About a minute left. Just a final thought on UAB. I know you're going to have to play well Saturday night.
We better be ready to play. And this is an outstanding team, but it's also a great opportunity for us to get better and grow and show the growth in which we've had and go play a quality opponent in Kyle Field. And if we can come out, as you say, beat the hell out of them in Kyle Field, that's a great win for us. That's another feather in our cap, and us growing this program mentality-wise and execution-wise to the level in which we need to be at, which we need to grow. And it's one of 2 lit games left for our seniors to be able to play. And our young underclassmen owe it to them. You didn't know you're only going to walk down that tunnel 2 more times. We need to make it special for them.
Yeah, you want that senior memory of winning one.
Exactly
for those
right.
Guys on their night.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for the time tonight.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate it.
Glad everyone to be here. Thank you.
Jimbo Fisher right here on his own radio show. It is presented by Capital Farm Credit. Again, live here at Rudy's on Harvey Road in College Station. 5 o'clock is our pregame show on the Aggie Radio Network across many of these same stations. Myself, Andrew Monaco, and Dave Elmendorf will have the call. And then 6 o'clock is kickoff between the Texas A&M Aggies and the UAB Blazers. UAB, again, coming in at 9-1. They are ranked 25th in the coaches poll. They are already the Conference USA Western Division champions. They will play in that league's title game on December 1st, and they're likely going to host the game at their home Legion Field in Birmingham. So, Texas A&M from the SEC, UAB from Conference USA. It has turned into a marquee non-league matchup in November. Just 2 home games left at Kyle, the Blazers and the LSU Tigers. Thank you for joining us tonight at Rudy's on Harvey Road. This is Aggie Football.